Holy freaking crap, Taika Waititi is going to be using the Guardians of the Galaxy in Thor 4. Let's talk about where this report is coming from and what it means. What's up, everybody? It's Josh. Welcome back to the channel. Smash that like button like Groot, and let's get right into this. This exclusive is coming from Brandon Davis over at comicbook.com. Brandon did a great job of teasing this out on his Twitter yesterday. It was making waves, and in general, Brandon Davis is doing a great job of sort of building his brand within the Marvel scooping Marvel fan base, and all the credit goes to him and this exclusive. He nabbed this from Groot himself. Vin Diesel was talking to Brandon Davis about the Bloodshot movie, which comes out this coming weekend, and he gave away a few interesting tidbits. The biggest and craziest of these was talking about how he had actually had some conversations with Taika Waititi and that the Guardians of the Galaxy in some capacity will be in Thor 4. Here's the clip from the video on comicbook.com right here.
Thor will also, the director talked to me about how Thor will incorporate some of the Guardians of the Galaxy, which would be very interesting. Nobody knows.
This is really interesting and sort of a mix-up from the original plan for these film franchises and these characters. As Brandon points out in his video talking about this, things changed after the James Gunn drama situation where that movie got delayed. Originally, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was going to be coming out before Thor 4, but now it is going to come out afterwards. And because we see Thor with the Asgardians when he leaves Endgame, this actually makes a lot of sense. And so what's weird and interesting about this is fans had immediately asked James Gunn after that scene if we were going to be seeing the Asgardians of the Galaxy for the next Guardians of the Galaxy film. And another reason that this is so cool is because it adds more flavor to Thor 4. Now, all we know about Thor 4 currently is that it is going to have Natalie Portman returning to the MCU. She is going to be getting a hammer and being the female version of Thor, but we don't even know how closely the storyline in Thor 4 is going to focus on the storyline from the Jane Foster Thor comic book run. In fact, Taika Waititi recently talked about this, saying that, yeah, that was an original inspiration for the next story, but things change a lot, and Marvel's just really good at changing things even after they shoot it to make a very entertaining and enjoyable film. He talked about how on Thor Ragnarok, they did a bunch of reshooting. Originally, they went in, shot a bunch of stuff. There was a lot of free-flowing stuff, ad-libs, making stuff up on the set, and then they go take a look at that stuff, and the whole Marvel team just decides, hey, we need a little bit more here. A scene like this might help this out, and overall, that does help Marvel movies just have a much better flow than some of the other films you see out there from equivalent-sized studios. We also know that Christian Bale is going to be playing the lead villain of the film, and even though that was confirmed by Tessa Thompson very recently, that report actually originated on the Illuminati. And in that original Illuminati report, they described Bale's villain as being alien and otherworldly in its appearance. A lot of people think he's going to be Gore the God Butcher in that movie, which would take from the Jane Foster storyline and some really cool Thor stuff that kind of parallels the Jane Foster storyline in the comic books, but it could be something completely different and wild. My brain kind of goes to like Elders of the Universe in this grand cosmic journey. There are also rumors that Loki from the Loki series will end up meeting up with Thor during the events of Thor 4 and joining in whatever crazy quest he and Jane Foster Thor are on. And the fact that the Guardians of the Galaxy might now be joining, or at least some of them might be joining in that adventure, is really freaking crazy. And again, makes me believe this is going to be some grand cosmic scale threat, and the possibilities of Adam Warlock being the main villain and Christian Bale playing Adam Warlock are actually way higher now that you realize that both Taika and James Gunn have at least some kind of a working relationship, have at least shared different ideas about this sort of thing, and the fact that the Guardians of the Galaxy will be in Thor 4. This is also obviously perfect from a sensibilities perspective. Taika and James Gunn are very similar in their sensibilities of making films, and if there was ever an MCU director that I would trust besides James Gunn to do some really fun creative stuff with the Guardians of the Galaxy, it would be Taika Waititi. And I think in general this is just great news for MCU fans. I know a lot of MCU fans look at Phase 4 and they're like, okay, this is cool, but sort of a step back from what we've been experiencing in the other phases, particularly the end of Phase 3, which was just amazing. And so the fact that some of these sequels for the films that we had loved in the first 3 phases look to be ensemble films, look to be adding a lot of flavor from familiar faces and characters, is a very smart move. If Thor 4 is really crazy, almost like a Civil War type movie, which is really like an Avengers 2.5 film, if that's what we're going to end up getting in Thor 4, I am all for it. This could also set up some really interesting stuff for the members of the Guardians of the Galaxy that James Gunn will then take into his Volume 3, which he will be working on when he finishes post-production over with the Suicide Squad. One other thing that Vin Diesel noted in this interview was talking about Alpha Groot, this whole new side of Groot that we're going to see in this film, and whatever story threads they end up using in Thor 4, I think are just going to be hilarious, brilliant, well-developed, and carry over perfectly into James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I also just want to say that whoever Christian Bale is playing, he better be very powerful. I mean, Gore the God Butcher would fit for this, but so would some of the Elders of the Universe, because if he's literally fighting against Thor and Jane Foster Thor, possibly Loki, and the members of the Guardians of the Galaxy, that better be one strong foe, otherwise it's going to be a very short movie. But that is the crazy news coming out of comicbook.com from an exclusive from Brandon Davis. Thor 4 looks to be using some of the Guardians of the Galaxy in it. That's pretty spicy, man. I want to know what you think about this, so let us know your thoughts about this in the comment section below. And now let's shout out Andre Graham. Yes, indeed, Hela is Loki's daughter in Marvel Comics. So shout out to you, Andre. Now let's ask another nerd card question before we get out of here. I want to know, what is the name of the weapon that Gore the God Butcher uses in Marvel Comics? It is a pretty sweet little weapon. Really hoping it shows up in the movies, even if Gore isn't in them. What was the name of that sword? Answer that question in the comment section below. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching this video. The Den of Nerds is independent media. If you want to support us, you can do something as simple as liking or sharing this video. If you want to financially support us, you can join the list of names you see below and become a supporter of us on Patreon. We also do live streams all week, Monday through Friday, over on our live streaming channel. Support independent media. Support the Den of Nerds.